Welcome to VNT. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The South China Sea, a vital global trade route, is more than just a stretch of water. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of goods pass through these busy shipping lanes, connecting Asia with the rest of the world. The region is not only crucial for international commerce, but also for the livelihoods of millions who depend on its rich fisheries and natural resources. Yet, beneath the surface, the South China Sea is once again at the center of geopolitical tension. Naval standoffs and military patrols have become a regular sight as rival nations assert their claims over these contested waters. Today, October 22, 2025, the Philippines has issued a new national map, a bold political statement that signals a turning point in the ongoing maritime dispute. The release was made with much fanfare, underscoring its significance to the nation and the region. This map asserts the Philippines' sovereign rights over waters and islands also claimed by China, particularly in areas like the Scarborough Shoal and the Spratly Islands. The overlapping claims have long been a flashpoint, fueling diplomatic protests and confrontations at sea. By releasing this map, the Philippines is making a strategic move to reinforce its legal standing on the world stage. Diplomats are working tirelessly to rally international support, seeking to build alliances and draw attention to what they see as Chinese encroachment on their territory. The new map directly counters China's sweeping historical claims, which are often depicted by the so-called 9-dash line. Instead, the Philippines draws its boundaries based on international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and historical documents that support its case. This release comes in the wake of a series of aggressive incidents at sea. Philippine Coast Guard and fishing vessels have repeatedly faced harassment and dangerous maneuvers by Chinese ships, raising fears of escalation and sparking outrage at home. Under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the Philippines is taking a more assertive stance than ever before. The administration has vowed to protect the nation's interests, promising to stand firm in the face of intimidation and to defend the country's maritime rights. The new map is more than just lines on paper. It's a visual representation of the territory the Philippines considers its own, territory that is under constant threat from external pressures. It's a symbol of the nation's resolve to safeguard its future. China has responded with predictable fury, dismissing the map as an illusion and reiterating its own claims. Chinese officials have accused the Philippines of stirring up trouble and undermining regional stability, while state media has launched a campaign to discredit the new map. For the Philippines, however, this is about more than just lines on a map. It's about national sovereignty, economic security, and a sense of identity. The move has sparked a wave of patriotism, with citizens rallying behind their leaders and calling for unity in the face of external threats. The waters in question are rich in fish, oil, and gas, resources vital to the country's economy and food security. As tensions rise, the Philippines is prepared to defend its claims, determined to protect its people, its resources, and its place in the world. The Philippines' new map aims to clearly state its territorial claims in the West Philippine Sea. It reaffirms key features like the Kalayaan Island Group and Scarborough Shoal as part of its territory. The map translates legal arguments into a tangible document, countering China's claims. It highlights the proximity of these areas to the Philippines and asserts legal rights under international law. The map is a tool of statecraft, solidifying the Philippines' position domestically and internationally. It's a defiant act, codifying claims in a formal public manner. China's reaction to the Philippine map was swift and dismissive. Within hours, Chinese officials convened press briefings, denouncing the map as a blatant challenge to their sovereignty. The tone was uncompromising, signaling that Beijing would not tolerate what it saw as an affront to its territorial integrity. The Chinese Defense Ministry urged the Philippines to abandon what it called unrealistic illusions about the South China Sea. Officials emphasized that any attempt to undermine China's position would be met with firm resistance, reiterating their long-standing policy of zero tolerance for perceived encroachments. Beijing views the map as a deliberate provocation, asserting its own historical claims with renewed vigor. Chinese leaders argue that their rights in the region are rooted in centuries of history, and they frame the dispute as a matter of national pride and dignity. China refers to Scarborough Shoal and the Spratly Islands as integral parts of its territory, repeatedly citing ancient records and maps to justify its claims. These islands are not just strategic outposts, but symbols of sovereignty in the eyes of Chinese policymakers. The 9-dash line, a sweeping demarcation that encompasses about 90% of the South China Sea, is central to China's narrative. Despite international criticism and legal challenges, Beijing insists that this line reflects its legitimate maritime boundaries, dismissing opposing claims as groundless. Beijing warned of resolute measures to safeguard its territorial sovereignty. This includes not only diplomatic protests, but also a visible military presence, naval patrols, Coast Guard operations, and frequent drills designed to project strength and deter rivals. These measures include aggressive maritime tactics to enforce claims, such as shadowing foreign vessels, blocking access to disputed waters, and staging standoffs at sea. Such actions are intended to send a clear message: China will defend its interests by any means necessary. China's strategy also involves lawfare, using legal arguments and documentation to legitimize its actions on the international stage. By producing official papers and convening legal experts, Beijing seeks to bolster its claims and counter foreign criticism. It portrays itself as a victim of provocation, defending historic rights against what it calls external interference. State media amplifies this narrative, rallying public support and framing the dispute as a patriotic cause. Disinformation campaigns misrepresent events at sea, shaping the narrative both at home and abroad. Through selective reporting and social media manipulation, China seeks to control the story and sway international opinion in its favor. In this high-stakes contest, the battle is fought not just with ships, but with words, maps, and narratives, each side vying to define the truth and secure its place in the region's future. The ongoing map dispute is not just a matter of lines on paper, it reflects a dangerous and escalating reality on the water. The South China Sea has become a flashpoint, where tensions simmer and sometimes boil over, threatening regional stability and the livelihoods of those who depend on these waters. In recent months, confrontations between Philippine and Chinese vessels have become more frequent and more intense. These encounters are often tense, with ships maneuvering dangerously close to one another, raising the risk of accidents or even open conflict. One of the most serious incidents took place on August 11, 2025, near the contested Scarborough Shoal, a strategic and resource-rich area claimed by both countries. On that day, a Philippine patrol vessel was intercepted by several larger Chinese ships. The encounter quickly escalated, resulting in a collision that damaged the Philippine vessel and heightened diplomatic tensions. This was not an isolated event. Such deliberate acts of intimidation are part of a broader pattern of harassment, where Chinese vessels use their size and numbers to intimidate and outmaneuver smaller Philippine ships. Video evidence from these encounters shows Chinese ships engaging in aggressive and dangerous maneuvers, sometimes coming within meters of collision, putting lives and vessels at risk. These actions are designed to assert control over the disputed waters and to hinder the Philippines' ability to operate freely in areas it claims as its own. The dispute over Scarborough Shoal is especially acute. Chinese vessels now maintain a near-constant presence, effectively controlling access and monitoring all activity in the area. As a result, Filipino fishermen, who have relied on these waters for generations, are routinely chased away, losing not only their access to traditional fishing grounds, but also their primary source of livelihood. China's so-called gray zone tactics involve not just the Coast Guard, but also a maritime militia, civilian vessels that act in concert with official forces. Together they enforce China's sweeping claims, blurring the line between civilian and military action, and making the situation even more volatile. The Philippines' argument is bolstered by a significant 2016 legal victory. An international tribunal invalidated China's 9-dash line, further supporting the Philippines' claims. China rejected the ruling, openly defying international law. The US and its allies insist maritime claims must be based on international law. Freedom of navigation operations regularly challenge China's excessive claims. The dispute underscores the global importance of the rules-based international order. The Philippines uses radical transparency to counter China's naval superiority. Journalists are embedded on patrols, capturing China's aggressive actions. This strategy, dubbed the strategy of sunlight, controls the narrative. Immediate evidence exposes the gap between China's rhetoric and actions. Videos of confrontations resonate globally, rallying international support. The Philippines presents the dispute as a violation of international law. Support from countries like the US, Japan, and Australia is galvanized. The strategy imposes reputational costs on China, leveraging information and law. The tensions between the Philippines and China are more than a regional dispute. The South China Sea is a critical global trade conduit, with disruptions affecting the economy. The conflict tests the international rules-based order, challenging the principle of might makes right. China's rejection of the 2016 ruling undermines international law. The standoff affects regional stability, drawing nations closer to the U.S. Increased military presence heightens the risk of conflict. The new map symbolizes the Philippines' determination to defend its rights. The South China Sea tensions are a defining geopolitical issue. The stakes are high, shaping the balance of power in the 21st century.